Happy Sunday, everyone. Good evening, wherever you are in the world, or maybe it's morning in US. This is Mick Ruby from MUFC with your daily transfer bombas. On top with an live extra. If you missed it, we posted this morning an exclusive interview that I had with Alfredo Pedullà. We got a lot of things to talk about. So this show is dedicated for you fans because you didn't have an opportunity to ask the questions because it wasn't live. It was pretty much a pre-recorded. So this show, of course, we're going to talk about everything that went on with Alfredo Pedullà. Get your questions in, of course. Put a queue and put your questions. And we do welcome super chats as well as per usual. And if you want to become a member, because we're going to talk about a lot of things. What has been said with Onana? What is the truth with Jadon Sancho? Who is Manchester United midfield targets? We're going to talk about that as well, and plenty more. I will be accompanied by Mark as well. He will come in because he obviously watched the interview. You guys watched the interview. If you haven't, go back in retrospective and watch it. It was posted earlier. But before we do that, there's only one thing you should do. You should start liking the video. Do it right now. If you're new, subscribe. So right, let's unpack this and let's ride this transfer bullet. Welcome. Let's go.
And Garnacho!
Has the Premier League ever been more challenging?
Will you be in the dugout at Old Trafford on Sunday? I will be here. Definitely.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go, people. Some people call it panic station. It is the transfer window, but realistically speaking, the transfer window has only been open 10 days, and then we had the sort of break in between now because they're playing the cup competition, the World Cup, and which I haven't watched one single game. But anyway, I've been way too busy doing the transfer. It is a lot of things that's going on and a lot of media spin that's going on. So therefore, I brought Alfredo Pedullà into the show just to get a close shave as possible. If you know this channel, if you know me, yes, I tend to report on Manchester United and Manchester United alone. And lo and behold, today has been a massive day for me. I think I'm going to take a little bit break tomorrow because I've been working relentlessly to get things going. And it was a successful interview with a little bit of a technical issues. Of course, there's got to be some translation as Alfredo doesn't speak good English. So I tried the AI dubbing, it didn't work. But anyway, we are here live and we're going to sort of summarize certain things. We're going to play clips and you guys are going to sort of ask your questions. Put a queue in as well. If you want to super chat with your questions, please welcome. I don't really demand it, but we don't really make any money on this channel. We do this for free. And a lot of work goes behind the scenes. So yes, smash that like button if you can. Do it right here, right now, while we're waiting for Mark also to come in. Right, let's go into the chat to see who's in the house. Let me see. I can see Roydon Frost. Roydon Frost is having a little panic station. Say, Hato will go to Arsenal. Well, true. I don't really follow Arsenal that much, Roydon. Big up to you, Roydon. I send you a link if you want to come in and have a say. Tamiso Delicious in the house as well. Big up. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Mr. Deliso, as per usual, I read your name. I read tiramisu for some reason. I'm word blind sometimes. United, I want Osimhen, Umbeno, Emi Martinez, Ederson, Simmons, Hato. Hato wasn't going to Arsenal all of a sudden. Cardoso, Vlahovic to United is better for next season, please. We can already Mr. Tiramisu Deliso, we can always beg and pray. But you know what? Anything could happen in this transfer window. And we are still early. We have some breaking exclusive bombas regarding the Umbuemo situation. There was Rudy Goletti that came out yesterday to say that is a deal being agreed in principle on 63 million plus add-ons, and I said, whoa, not so fast, Rudy. Nobody else been reporting. We know that there's been we know that it has been a bid going in, a second bid, and I've been quite adamant to say that Man United are quite adamant to put in a second and final offer bid, but now they're kind of negotiating. I've been told that the bid is somewhere around of the range of 53 to 40. To 55 plus add-ons, leading in up to 63 million in total package. Similar style with exactly like we did for Cunha. Why? Because United started with the first bid on 45 million plus 10 add-ons, leading to 55. So I think that Rudy Goletti and the initial source that tweeted it, so kind of a little bit jumping the gun because I initially picked up the phone, started to call up my tier ones, and understood that this is not the case. So sometimes it's Sunday, paper talk. People want to create clicks for views. It's Sunday, editorials, but that is what it is. But the one that came out today regarding Alfredo Pedullà, it's the surprise Richard Rios, because Manchester United are looking at 3 different option midfielders. One is Hayden Hackney, as per my understanding. Number 2 is Ederson. And number 3 is Richard Rios. Now, I'm happy to sort of share with you guys at the end of the day, because after all this hard work, I got actually mentioned by one of the biggest United aggregator account, United Exclusive. And it's an honor to be nominated or actually be mentioned, because they don't post bullshit, and they actually mentioned today's podcast. And I'm honored because there was a lot of hard work that went in here. Just in Manchester United are showing serious interest in Richard Rios. This is the one to watch closely. 100% it is. Because at the end of the day, people are saying, well, how much is going to cost? Well, the evaluation of Richard Rios is 17 million euros, right? As per my understanding, as per the interview with Alfredo Pedullà, Richard Rios and Palmeiras. Palmeiras is a rich club. They are currently playing in the World Cup, club competition, and he's doing quite well over there. And this, my friends, according to what I tweeted, follow-up tweet, was following that just in. Let me add this to the stage as well, just to share with you. Just in, Manchester United midfield targets are well understood are Hayden Hackney from Borough, Ederson, and Richard Rios as it stands today. Hackney, Middlesbrough, and the 25-year-old Richard Rios. Yes, he's actually 25 and well scouted by Manchester United. Even Dean John Soccer was tweeting it last year as well. They were in for him. But this is one of the Christopher Vevell's signings in a way. This is well scouted and recommended by recruitment director Christopher Vevell, who also delivered Diego Leon. So some people say, well, hang on a second. It's just the South American clubs utilizing Manchester United for clicks. But nobody believed in the Diego Leon story. It came from South American sources, and boom, Barabishi became a Man United player. We know the Man United have been scouting Rios for quite a while, and he's a quite extraordinary midfielder that I kind of like, because if you look at it, he will fit in the midfield system 100%. There's even talks about what should we do with Kobe Mainoo's contract. We know that Casemiro might leave potentially, or we know also that Eriksen's left the club. So we are a little bit thin in the midfield, but also been said that Manchester United during this pre-season now going to assess certain youngsters like Seko Kone, the Fletcher twin, Morehouse, if they can be integrated in the first team. But I believe that this is going to be a price range, what I've been hearing, around 25 million euros to 30 million for Richard Rios. So let me know in the comment what you think as well. What do you think at the end of the day? Would you fancy Richard Rios to Manchester United? Let me dive into the comment section. Robert is in the house. Big up, big news at the end. We will not see anything happen. Well, Robert, this is the Manchester United fan base at the moment, right? We're looking at Liverpool, what they're doing, and they're doing madness, right? But Liverpool didn't spend anything last season, and they want to sort of back the manager to sort of win double titles. So they're going on a mad spree. But trust me, next season, they will not spend nothing. So big up, everyone. Neil Driscoll, our loyal member, is in the house. Long time, Neil. How are you doing? Vincent Bullock in the house as well, saying, what are you saying, Vincent? Yes, no, that was not Vincent. That was actually Neil Driscoll. Hi, Mickey. Hope the show is live. It is live. It is live. I was planning to do a live show with Alfredo, by the way, but we decided to do a recording. And then plan B was to do the Q&A section where you guys have watched the video and come in with your questions. But Mark, where are you, Mark? 25 million. When is the summer asked for 90 in the sun sounding a steal? About 25 million? When last summer they asked for 90 million sounding a steal. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah. Anyway, Mark will come in soon and you will sort of explain yourself, Mark, what you mean with that comment. Yeah. I am live. So guys, let your questions come in. The following what we're going to do here, since it's a Sunday, right? So just throw in your questions. And I'm still waiting for this Mark. Mark, he's always late, I send him like in the link earlier, like, Mark, don't be late. But Mark's middle name is Late. Mark Late. So, you know what I mean? What they say, late guests always arrive late to the party, isn't it? Like, okay, you got me, guys, you got me. But also get you involved. The more people we have a competition, and this is a new YouTube thing, you will rank by the engagement. So at the end of the show, we're going to display who is the number one, who won the pole position here in terms of engagement and questions and super chats and all that stuff, guys. So yeah, this is the one to watch, Richard Rios. But where is Mark Nurse? I wonder. Sure, Mick can start the show 10 minutes rambling and waffling along, but I'm still waiting for my special guest, Mark. Mark. There's no Mark in the house. Let's move on. By the way, so I don't know. Are you guys watching the club competition? Because I haven't watched one single game, to be honest. It feels like it is kind of a little bit of a dead rubber game, like, give players a little bit of rest. Nah, they finished the season. Of course, if you look at Palmeiras in the middle of the season, but most of the European clubs, they're just like halting on one leg thinking, wow, I need a holiday. But now FIFA has to make a little bit of money and throw in them in the ring. Like, it's like going against Mike Tyson with one leg, you know what I mean? And one arm, try to swing on jab. But guys, anyway, big up Frankie's in the house as well. Big up Mickey and the chat. Big up to you, Frankie, as well. Why don't you guys let me know when you guys are coming from as well? If you want to shout, I can shout you out as well. Driscoll saying, I know nothing about Richard Rips. Yeah, okay. You don't know anything about Richard. So let's just dive into Richard. Okay, let's add the trusty old Transfermarkt. Let's go. Not Transfermarkt, but Transfermarkt. Richard Rios profile, Palmeiras from Colombia. Not the kind of what you like to associate Colombians with, but he is 25 years old. And if you haven't seen his picture, he's ripped as a mother yucker, Age 25, he's 187 tall. He's a central midfielder and plays for Palmeiras. Palmeiras is a well-oiled run club that makes shit tons of money. His value is 16 million euros. Now we can 100% see, he wants his big move, right? So you can see his central position is pretty much in the middle. He can also play defensive midfield and right midfield. And this is something that we are seriously looking for, a versatile midfielder. Right in the central midfield, of course, we have already, the likes of Ugarte, but this guy, he can drive with the ball. That is his absolutely strength. He can break up the play, but he also can attack, which is kind of pretty good. 17 million euros, and there's some figures reporting that what should we get him for? Well, let me know. What do you think he's worth? Should I start a poll regarding this? Maybe I should. Let me start a poll. How much do you think he is worth? Let me start a poll while we're waiting. Yes, I'm gonna end this poll. We appreciate super chats, but most likely make sure you smash the like as we will be checking. Currently, 74 have smashed the like, so big up. I salute you. Sorry, I forgot, but I'm doing it now. 11%. And oops, my bad. Oops, I did it again. I smashed it again. So that was 15%. I end this poll. And I'm going to start a new poll, people, because I'm still waiting for my lovely Mark to come in. Start a new poll. Let me just do one simple thing. How much do you think United should bid for Rios? So he's worth 17 million. Do you reckon he should be 20 million? No, let's start with let's do euros, right? Should we do in euros instead of pounds? Yeah. Just you do euros, yeah? I do euros, right? Let's start with 20 million, and then we go with 22 or 23. Hang on. Let's do 23 million, add option. We do 25, and then we do 30. We do 30 as a fourth option. So I'll keep this poll running and you guys get involved because we want to have it as interactive as possible. Poll is running, peeps. Poll is up and running. Bombs away. So guys, get involved with the chat. So Neil, hopefully you know a little bit about Richard Rios. And if you don't know, there's plenty of YouTube compilation that you can look at. And you can also look at the club competition as Palmeiras is playing as well. Class of 99 in the house. What are you saying? Audrey Lewin looking more positive news coming in. Is that the goalkeeper? Yes, it is. Manu Tata is in the house. What are you saying? Manu Tata. Damien Duff is already is ready to manage a club. So is Donald Duck, and so is André Onana. They're ready to leave, in my opinion. Jokes aside, Silverman is in the house saying, hello, Amadou Onana would be great for a midfield. Yes, valid point. I mean, this is Leicester being relegated, and it will be very interesting who will pounce on him. I rate him. He was, when he played in the Premier League, he was arguably Leicester's best player. So definitely there's a one we should watch because he's Premier League proven. Now you can argue to the point that, you know, if you look at, if you're getting in a South American like Richard Rios, like he's not Premier League proven, he needs to be integrated, X, Y, Z. Yes, sure, he has to. But then you look at what you suggest in Onana, Amadou Onana. He's already Premier League proven, so that is sort of low risk, isn't it, right? But then you don't know, will he be successful at Manchester United? Will the burden to play and wearing this red jersey be too heavy for certain players, right? And therefore we are looking for players with mentality, right? You know, you got to have the right application, right ability, right mental ability as well, and agility in a way to play for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim's system. Then, of course, we were talking about, you know, Ederson, if you're going to keep going on that one. Alfredo Pedullà mentioned about Ederson, and they certainly Manchester United are still having Ederson on the list. However, he had an exclusive scoop back in December. I remember I spoke to him about it. And he was called into Atalanta Sports Center to speak with the sporting director with potentially Ederson and the links to Manchester United. Manchester United were kind of looking to bring him in January, but they didn't. And the price tag was set then was 50 million euros. 50 million euros for Ederson. But now they're looking at Ederson and say, well, they're open to sell him, but they are more likely they're willing to keep him. Of course, the Saudi Arabian club's also looking at Ederson, and you know, City was also looking, but he rejected City. There's no concrete as of yet, but the door still remains open. So far, Manchester United have not, you know, engaged further, but they have always had positive connections and interactions regarding Atalanta. So this is one to watch what Alfredo Pedullà was saying, but also he said like nothing is going to happen until June 1st. Sorry, July 1st, which is the start of the new PSR, because Manchester United are looking pretty much just to get the striker position, and not really striker position, but bolster the attack first, and then, you know, address the midfield situation and the goalkeeping situation. Of course, we spoke about André Onana today as well, so I'm going to play some clips from that. But where is my Mark? I don't know where Mark is. Mark said he was going to the toilet, and that was like 20 minutes ago. Mark, did you eat something bad? Please come in. United Devils rundown. United gonna lift the Premier League. Now we're talking. Well, Red Devils rundown depends on, like, you know, how we end up in the recruitment window. Depends on, right? I know that Jason Wilcox came up and spoke, and a lot of United fan base said, well, you're having a laugh. Like, look at Liverpool. Look at what City is doing. Everyone's doing business. But they keep forgetting that these clubs had to do early business because it was the club competition, right? The World Cup. So all of them are in the World Cup club competition. And there's a little bit of a halt right now in the transfer market due to that. But after the first, this is where most clubs want to do business due to the PSR and the FFP. It is the new financial year. And hence the Mbeumo deal, what I've been hearing as well, it's basically what I said. Man United are hardcore negotiation. It's called like an attrition, right? Attrition. It's like war of attrition at the end of the day. It is still down to the millions and how you're going to structure the deal. But even if they have agreed and put in a bid, according to the weekend reports, United will not trigger this deal until June 1st, simply because of the PSR. They can do business, but they're also focused on getting players out of the door. And players out of the door, if we're going to talk about, you know, if we're going to talk about what went on, what certain journalists from Italy was saying, if we're going to mention Di Marzio was saying that basically Jadon Sancho have a deal in principle with the you know, Napoli. It was all over the news. He has already agreed personal terms, but that is not the case, people. That is not the case. And as an evidential, I'm going to play the clip what he said as well, Alfredo. What did he say about Jadon Sancho? Jadon Sancho. Let's add this to the stage. Let's not wait for Mark. Okay. Hopefully you can hear this video clip. This was from earlier this afternoon. What do you hear and what is feasible?
Ma intanto se parliamo di Sancho alla Juventus, è un'operazione che l'estate scorsa è stata molto vicina alla definizione.
So he's saying the deal between Sancho and Napoli was almost done last summer. That's what he was saying.
Poi la Juventus aveva preso Nico Gonzalez.
Juve, sorry, it was a Juve. Juve got Nico Gonzalez and Conceição.
E con Seisao aveva deciso
Conceição.
di non sovraccaricare, di non fare un sovraffollamento nel reparto offensivo per non mettere troppa benzina, per non mettere troppa carne sul fuoco e per lasciar lavorare tranquillo Thiago Motta, visto che poi aveva anche UEA, Bangula, tutta gente che sui Ildis, tutta gente che sugli esterni fa del gioco sulle fasce la principale specialità. Adesso viene accostata a tante squadre italiane. Io ti posso garantire che il Napoli ha delle priorità, e soprattutto Ndoye.
So basically he's saying Napoli's priority is Ndoye, the Swiss international Ndoye. So of course they are looking for a secondary winger. They want to sort of bolster the wing, but hear what he has to say here right now. This is very interesting.
Una priorità, e poi in un pacchetto di soluzioni, visto che deve prendere 2 esterni offensivi, ci può stare anche Sancho, ma è una situazione non semplice. Ci sta per esempio Chiesa, che è un pallino.
Chiesa is Conte's favorite and this deal is complicated. Why is it complicated? Listen.
Di Conte è una situazione non semplice per l'ingaggio, e perché c'è questa storia del contratto, del rinnovo, l'opzione, e il Manchester United non lo vuole regalare. Io credo che Sancho abbia anche delle proposte dall'Arabia.
He believes that Sancho has offers from Saudi Arabia. And if you really read into it, Sancho as a footballer is no longer existent. Sancho as a businessman is more what he wants, right? Especially when Chelsea offered him a contract for lesser wages, he rejected him. He could have played at Chelsea, be a Blues, play in the Champions League, but he rejected. So for me, that is an indication that he only cares about the money. So what's going on with Napoli? Apparently, Di Marzio was saying, personal terms agreement is there, but it's not. Is it? Is it? Alfredo, allora.
Che magari in questo momento non vuole valutare, è una situazione da seguire, ripeto, per il Napoli ci sono delle priorità e delle occasioni eventuali.
Sounds it. So, as Fred alluded, right? So Sancho's problem, and if we're also going to speak about Rashford's problem, it is their wages, right? Clubs have no issues to spend money, especially Serie A clubs. Juventus could spend more money because they're a little bit richer club. But if you look at AC Milan, if you look at the clubs like, Napoli, Atalanta, those clubs, they don't want to spend more than 25, 30 million tops on a player. So the transfer fee is not a problem, but it is absolutely the wage demand. So yes, they had an agreement with Sancho last year, but this year it's not that advanced. They have numerous conversations, but Sancho doesn't really want to lower down his wages. And that is the stumbling block. Enter Juve, that's also sort of looking at attacking the left-wing situation. Juve has kind of spoken to Marcus Rashford and Sancho, and it still remains the same. We like you, we fancy you, but we don't trust you. We don't trust your judgment in terms of the personality. Sure, it's a new league, but your wages. You're not worth paying this. So I would just take that as an example to say, listen, clubs are smartening up. Clubs are not willing to pay these big dineros. You know what I mean? The big Benjamins, because, hey, you sign a play like we did with Anthony and he flops. You sign a 75 million like Rasmus Højlund and he flops. And you pay them big wages on top of that. So that is very difficult to get rid of. So I believe the Manchester United are working really hard behind the scenes to get Sancho a permanent move, right? But Sancho and his camp needs to do their part as well, meaning lower down your wages. Look at Nico Williams' Barcelona. Surely Rashford wants to come there. I believe that Barcelona is kind of whispering in his ear, talking, we will still come for you at the end of the window. But I think that Barcelona will actually mug United so at the end of the window to say, we will take him on a loan and pay, because we can't afford to register another player. We don't have the money, especially if we're going to invest in Nico Williams. So this is a massive headache, and this is a bomb. This is the absolutely true. And this is coming from Alfredo Pedullà, that has good connections within the transfer market, and especially when it comes to Serie A Italian football. You know, a lot of clubs trust him when it comes with information. I tend to believe and I tend to listen. But Di Marzio, on the other hand, you know, he used to be good. Fabrizio Romano used to sort of work with Di Marzio, but Di Marzio is now working for clubs, like as a mouthpiece, kind of an agent just to throw out fillers, right? So echo chambers that were called, or some aggregator account, which is a little bit shameful. But guys, if you haven't watched this video, please do me a massive favor right now. And if you haven't smashed the like button, please do it right now. So let me know. I'm going to go to the chat. What do you think at the end of the day? Sancho, Rashford, you know, always look at the source where this is coming from, right? This is too good to be true. You know, who's going to pay 300k for Rashford, 350k for Rashford? Who? So Saudi might be an option, is what Alfredo said. You know, Saudi links, but Jadon Sancho, do you want to go to Saudi? Well, in my opinion, as a fan, I will go. Tax-free money, they can afford to pay his salary. Al Hilal, you name it, there's plenty of clubs, right? Because Jadon Sancho is not in a million years getting into the England national squad. But Rashford, on the other hand, he needs to get into the World Cup next year in Canada. So the pressure is more on Rashford to find a club and his agent. But sometimes you also have to look around and criticize your agents, like, listen, what are you doing? Right? What are you doing? Anyway, big up to all of you for coming in. I'm still waiting for Mark, and I don't know what's going on with Mark. I haven't checked my WhatsApp message. And where's my phone? My phone is gone. Anyway, so that means that I cannot monitor. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm just going to go into the live chat here as well. And I'm going to see what you guys were saying. I'm going to end the poll anyway. I did post a poll. How much do you think United should bid for Rios? There was 20 million, 23 million, there was 25 million, and there was 30 million. And at the end of the day, the winner is 20 million on 47%. The number two is 25 million on 25 million. And of course, 30 million was 22%, and last 23. Surprisingly, like, you know, I thought that a lot of you would bid the lowest amount, but anyway, you didn't. There is 600 people watching and 32 likes. So thank you so much, and keep the likes coming and going. As I say, we do this for free. Let me just check my WhatsApp. What happened to Mark? Mark, where the hell are you? Mark, are you? I'm just like typing Mark. That was a long toilet break. You coming? Everyone should give Mark a little bit stick, because he was supposed to come. But if he doesn't, hey, not reliable. Here he is, rocking up. There he is. Hey,
Yo,
you there?
Mick, and I was setting up for my internet was off. I just come up on stream and I can't get back online just now.
No way.
I was in the chat on data just now. I was in the chat on data now, so now that the internet connect, I could jump in the stream.
How about
Just give me
camera?
like
You
a
don't have a
second.
camera either.
Yeah, I'm hooking up my camera now, bro. 1 sec.
Okay.
But go on
Turn
now,
your
yo.
camera.
Go on and talk about something. When you finish, I will just jump in with my comments.
Yeah. yeah. I'm just going to go to the chat while you're setting up. Big up this channel, what Abdullah Irvan is saying. Pogba back to Monaco. Wow, that's big, massive news. For good on Pogba. He needs to play football. Like, he had a really horrible end of his season with doping and everything, and his brother trying to stitch him up. Like, you know, Yolem Amin is saying, what is Yolem Amin saying? Why is Rio so cheap? South American, 25-year-old, like, you know, time to sort of break free and go to continental Europe. 70 million, I think it was 16, 17 million euros evaluation. And, you know, you can't really ask 50 million for a player that never played in continental Europe. Similarly, like Anthony Dos Santos and everyone that came, Casado and all of them came from the grassroots leagues, or, you know, from South American leagues. They came for cheap. And, you know, if you sell them for 25 million, like, you know, if you're Palmeiras, which is, by the way, a really good run club and rich club, they still make a lot of profit. For them, it's a homegrown talent as well. So this is the one to watch. Frankie in the house, what are you saying? Any update regarding Dusan Vlahovic? No. Nothing. I did speak about Dusan Vlahovic. There was no concrete that Manchester United are even talking to him, according to Alfredo. I don't know. What do you think about Vlahovic, Mark? You know, I don't think it's a good match, right?
I'm not a
I haven't
fan
been
of Dusan Vlahovic, to be fair.
no.
I feel like he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. You know, I think he's a decent player. and he has a decent showing at the Euros, but he's one of those players for me that he shows up in a moment, and then when it comes to the big time, he disappears. He didn't do too well this season. He didn't do well last season. You know, it's one of those players that he'll be taking a risk on, kind of like Chiesa at Liverpool. That's a bit different, you know?
Yeah, 100%. There was also links coming out today that Man United are in for Koulibaly again. That was something that we were looking to do in January. Koulibaly wasn't favored at PSG, did well at Juventus. I think he scored about how many goals? 8 goals? No, 11 goals in I don't know. I can't really remember the stats, but
Yeah, I
I
hope
don't
to
know,
God
man.
we don't buy him. I just hope to
No,
God we don't buy him because
inconsistent.
but at the same time, what I've been hearing about Koulibaly is that he trying to seal a move to his Juventus. He was at this season on loan. He's trying to seal a move to Juventus because he had a very good he enjoyed the atmosphere there. This was some reports that he was actually speaking to some news agencies, and yeah, I think they're working on a deal to bring him there. Big up to
There you are.
everybody.
Beautiful face of Mark. How you doing?
Chilling,
Good.
bro.
How was your
So
Sunday?
a little bit busy, I just came back from the Netherlands. I went to what do you call a hock site, well, a wedding. So
Yeah.
yeah,
George
yesterday.
Banda in the house saying, hope we get top targets in early for the preseason. I wouldn't sort of count on that because a lot of players are still playing in the cup competition, the World Cup competition. I think a lot of players are on holiday. So the preseason for me is more to sort of integrate the youngsters, the academy players, and some of the senior players that didn't go anyway.
Yeah,
And
that
they
would
will
be
join
interesting.
later.
That would be interesting, but Man United really need to. I know you talked about earlier that some of the signings for the other clubs was because they had the World Cup, but when you look at a season where Manchester United finished 15th place in the league, there's no greater reason we should be having the signings in this month rather than next month than that. And if we go by the past experience with this structure, they sign players at the end of the window by game week 5 after we played 5 games. So it's weird.
Yeah. Now, did you manage to catch my interview with Alfredo this afternoon?
Yeah, I watched it. I was watching it, but then the stream started, and I think it had like 4 minutes left. 4 minutes left, I think. Something like that. Yeah.
I did just play regarding Jadon Sancho, and there was a lot of reports coming out from Italy, and Di Marzio to say that he had agreed his own agreement with Napoli, right? Personal terms, but Fabrizio, not Fabrizio, but sorry, Alfredo said no, that was not the case. That was last year they had, right? But this year they're looking at other targets.
Yeah, that is the case right now. What I'm hearing is that
They of
they
course
had,
they fancy him. They're looking for 2 attacking wingers, but they're looking more for the Swiss international, right?
yeah, it
The
is an
plays for
interesting
Bologna.
thing. It's an interesting thing because there are 3 Italian clubs that are interested in Jadon Sancho that I know of. Lazio is definitely another club that has shown
Yeah.
some interest lately, but definitely Napoli was interested. But there's some rumors that Napoli have switched their interest based off of the wages to sign Noah Lang from PSV. Is PSV he plays for? I think it was PSV or either PSV or Feyenoord in Holland. And we both know he's a similar type of multifaceted left or right winger that can play across the front line as well. He was an interesting talent coming up on the Ajax at Ten Hag, but he has a little bit of an attitude problem, similar. But apparently for the last season and a half, he's matured, quieted down, focusing on the pitch. And I think Napoli is making a move to trigger that deal. They might hear that being confirmed sometime next week. There's also the fact that Inter Milan is also interested in Jadon Sancho as well as Marcus Rashford. But like we said, the fact is that these 2 players, I don't know for what reason, they are not trying to, take a wage cut on their wages. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like they don't want to play
No.
football, they want to make money. So at the same time, it's a weird
Yeah.
one.
I played the clip because Alfredo was quite adamant when he said that, yeah, sure, Italian clubs are very much interested, but they are not willing to spend more than 30 million. That is the tops what they're paying. And plus, you got to add on the wages, which is nobody's getting paid that money. I think that, modern footballing clubs or footballing clubs now, they're getting more like, smart. They're not going to pay that big money anymore. They are pressured by the financial PSR and the FFPs and everything else. And it's been a tough year for many clubs, right? Also recovering post-COVID.
I think so. I won't necessarily say it again smart. I just think they reserve those type of salaries for special players too. Because you do know there are some players who will earn the big salaries at some clubs, you know what I mean? I don't think that will change particularly, but the amount of players that earn big money, I think, will change. I mean, United has said we are trying to reduce the wage bill. You know, we trying to get rid of 2 players on 300,000 plus a week. Hopefully we are successful there. We got rid of, there are 2 players that left one on average of 120K a week, so that's money saved. But players that coming in right now, like the likes of Embremo, the likes of Matthias Cunha, they going to be on similarly high wages, around 200K, between
Yep.
170 to 200K for Embremo.
Yeah.
I just think that Embremo is worth the money. When you look at his performance over the last couple of seasons, he's a very consistent performer. Contributes 15 to 20 to 30
Mbeumo.
goals in total contribution a season, goals and assists, and that's for the last 3 seasons. So is a player that is worth his money. Cunha is a player that had a very good season at Wolves. I'm a little bit skeptical. I think I would like to see a little bit more of him, but at the same time, let's see how it goes. We want mentality. I think it's gonna work out.
No, the show just started, Mark. Rush Mano comes in to say, boom, the show starts. Big up Rush Mano, everyone. And Bueno, by the way, Rudy Giletti, Rudy Giletti and some, if you see that on the screen, came from United Exclusive. By the way, they shouted me out today, which is wow. I like United Exclusive because they don't put nonsense out. But he put basically out Manchester United set to pay around 63 million plus add-ons from Brian Mbeumo. I just called it BS because I instantly know the story, what's going on, right? There's a lot of noise. I think that a lot of journalists are jumping the gun. It's not so fast, Mark. You know what I mean? And this is frustrating fans, right? But I'm saying, calma. It's agreed personal terms. Manchester United are in negotiation, discussing. It is kind of the war of attrition, negotiation attrition. So they initially put in a bid of 45 plus add-on, which was rejected. So the initial second bid, as what I explained to everyone, is that Man United wanted to put in the second bid as close for them to accept. So where did they get the 63 million plus 10 add-ons? That is not the case. Manchester United, what I'm hearing, is looking to sort of bump up to 53, 55 plus, a couple of add-ons to end up exactly on 63, the similar situation, what they did with Cunha, and do that in amortization. Now, I also been told that this deal at the moment will happen, but not more likely to be announced after July 1st, which is the new PSR financial year.
Yeah, I heard something along the lines of it will be announced on July the 1st or between the 1st and the 3rd.
Yep, sorry, Mark. I'm going to add you to the stage here as well. Where are you? Oh, Mark disappeared. Hello. We have, keep going. We have a guest as well coming in as well.
So for me, what I have heard with the Mbeumo deal is that we did offer 55 million plus add-ons, which was the second bid that we offered. I think they are only going up to the likes of 63 million based off of the fact that we would like to pay in amortization, and because we would like to pay on terms with the initial payment in the region of 20 million pounds. This is why, we would be going up to the region of 63 million pounds, but it would work with some form of a breakdown in the form of between 11 to 15 million per year for the next 4 seasons. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
I would say hold off. Don't
hold off. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't
thank
stress.
you. Yeah, Ali Durrani is coming in here to say exactly what we discussed this afternoon with Alfredo. Giovanni Manna, Napoli sporting director, on Jadon Sancho. Our offer is clear. We will not pay Sancho's requested salary. And that's it. Now I want to bring in Roydon Frost as well, a lawyer. Hey, Roydon, how are you?
Hey, guys, how's it going, man? I'm good and you? Hey, Mark, what's up?
Chilling, bro.
How's it going, man? Good,
Mark,
good.
Roydon, you watched the full interview. I'm interested from a fan's perspective. Is there any particular questions you had regarding this interview? Because you can only do certain couple of minutes. You can't really explain everything. So off the record, I can tell you more about it. So is there anything that you have on your mind?
Yeah. I just for me was for me at the moment. For me, the most important thing is about Gyökeres because I really do feel
Jokeris.
I really feel either are we definitely there for Gyökeres or is there somebody else that we're going to go to if the Gyökeres thing doesn't pan out?
Yes, and in brief way, he explained exactly what we've been tweeting about. Gyökeres is ambitious person. He wants to play in Champions League. United is not in Champions League. Fabrizio Romano said he's 99% sure that he would have joined Manchester United if we got Champions League. Now, transfer windows can change. He hasn't said no to United. He hasn't said no to Arsenal. He's believed there is a deal to be made for Arsenal and Manchester United. That's what he was saying. But he believes that Arsenal is in the driving seat with the Champions League at the moment. The players hasn't made up his mind in that certain ways. But where the stumbling block is actually what's going on between Sporting Lisbon, the president, and what has been promised during to this so-called gentleman's agreement that he could leave for 55 million pounds or 65 million euros plus 10 add-ons, right? Instead of what's Sporting now expecting 100 or 80 million, because they do expecting a bit more. Juventus was entering the race, but they pulled out. So only what's left is Manchester United and Arsenal at the moment. And we know that Andrea Berta is kind of lining up different striker positions like Sesko. But then RB Leipzig are silly. They want 80 million euros for Sesko. So this is kind of Andrea Berta trying to sort of align apples to apples and see, well, hang on. Sesko is a more of a club signing. He's been on their radar for over 1 year. He was supposed to join them in January. But
He's been longer than Gyökeres, yeah.
Yeah, and Berta just joined recently as a sporting director. So Berta's kind of running the show, but he also has to sort of align with Mikel Arteta. He has to align with what the club is saying as well. So who are they going to go for? Most likely they've sort of agreed personal terms already with Sesko. They've spoken 100% to Ederson and Hasan Sekiaka, wondering what is the price? What is your salary demand? It's normal. So I have Manchester United also agree kind of the personal terms to understand, and plus adding on the bonus. What is the stumbling block is they don't know what to bid. There has been no bid coming in because they don't know what to bid. And that is where you see potentially what you're hearing that Jorge Mendes might get involved. Not as an agent, but more of as a broker, intermediate. Yeah, because he's got excellent relationship with Sporting. United have an excellent relationship with Sporting. So I'd say keep your eyes on that. It's not over. Like anything can happen in the transfer window. But this situation between what has been promised contractually, which has been written down and documented, needs to be honored. Now, of course, Hugo Viana, he's left. He's now with City. So Hugo, if this goes to sports of arbitration, let's say if they're trying to sue, Hugo Viana will be actually testifying on this behalf. They have everything undocumented. So this might be dragging on, to July, August. So this might be a long-winded story, like a Frankie de Jong story at the end of the day.
Yeah, I heard yesterday from an Arsenal friend of mine that he said that Arsenal, because he's got quite a few people he knows at Arsenal, and they said that for them, as long as they get the striker before the first game. Now, for me, we're in a little bit of worse position than Arsenal is. It's imperative that we get a striker in for pre-season, so that he's hitting the road running by the time the first game starts, because those first 5 or 6 fixtures are going to be so important for us.
Yeah, Cornish made a face that I haven't seen before. Welcome you to the channel. And I agree with what you're saying. Italian clubs won't pay more than 20 to 30 million, but happy to ask for 50, 60 million for their players, which is absolutely true, right?
Well, technically, it's kind of the same, yeah, because they're asking for 50, 60 million euros, and they're paying 20, 30 million pounds. When you check it out, they're really kind of they're trying to pay 10 million less, maybe 5 million less in pounds.
I'm going to throw a level of surprise to you. What I also found out behind the scenes is that, of course, they prioritize first to get the 2 number 10s in, right? So they're not giving up. Like they got Cunha over the line. They are soon to secure Mbuemo, and then they will attack. Then they will sell a couple players. Of course, we are trying to sell, I think the closest one out of the door is Anthony at the moment, right? They're basically saying to Real Betis, he wants to lower down his salary, to play. He wants to give preference to Real Betis, and he's happy there, right? But there's going to be multiple other clubs bidding for more, and we know that Real Betis, they don't want to pay that high money either. They're also like haggling around 25, 30. But it's definitely, if they're selling for that kind of money, it is a loss. Definitely.
Yeah,
But then
it is.
Yeah. But then we're looking at, we freed up a lot of wages. Who else is close out of the door? We're looking at Sancho. We're looking at Rashford, Garnacho. Yeah, I asked him, in this video, I also asked him about Garnacho, and he said he went quiet around Italy, right? So Italian clubs are not willing to pay that high wages either, right? Or not, is it on the low wages? No, the high fee. So that's pretty much what the gentleman here was saying. They're not willing to pay more than 30 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you see, I think for Garnacho, I think he said he wants to prove Ruben Amorim wrong in the English Premier League. So if he's going to go somewhere, it'll probably be somebody and to another team in the English Premier League. For me, I wouldn't want that because that could come back to bite us in the arse eventually. I would rather prefer that he goes maybe somewhere to Spain or to Italy and then play there. That's just me.
Well, yeah, but you don't have control over that, yeah? So
yeah, it does.
pretty much it. Better look forward to it coming back to bite us. If it does, if it doesn't, well, so be it. That's life, you know. I mean, not everyone can make it at Manchester United. I mean, I would say that Garnacho is a player I would like to see develop. I think at 20 years old, what he's done over the past 3 seasons, doubling his goal contribution each season is very interesting. He might not have had the best season this season, but he's still at plus 20 GA for Manchester United. I think that's interesting. But
yeah, but one thing we need to sort of we spoke about Onana as well. So guys, if you haven't watched that video or the interview, go watch it, and give it a like, and the more likes, the more views, the better, because it's not even easy to get all these tier 1 journalists in to do a podcast, and we will do this on weekly basis. So every Sunday we're going to publish. But if there hasn't been anything going on over the week, what's the point of doing anything, right? So, and afterwards we'll follow up with the Q&A. So guys, if you want to sort of, if you watch the video, ask a question. Just put a Q and then your question and we will answer it. And of course we have Royden here that watched the full video. He's asking it live. Mark, you started to watch, but now you're hearing it live from the horse's mouth as well.
Mick, I got one more for you. Have you heard anything about André Onana?
No, we didn't speak about that.
Okay, no, because it's I just
spoke about Atalanta's goalkeeper.
I think it's fake news. Yeah.
Yeah, he spoke about Atalanta's goalkeeper, the Manchester United keeping tabs on him, but they want silly money for him, 40 million. And we know that United is not going to pay. He spoke about definitely that André Onana will be leaving, and Altar Bayanda is on his way out. So one of these goalkeepers leaving will fund another goalkeeper. Emi Martinez, I think we will get him for 25 million because Aston Villa is in a great PSL.
Emi Martinez is the goalkeeper with the most mistakes in the Premier League that lead to goals last season and the season previously. Back-to-back seasons.
I'm not really sold on Emilio Martinez. I'm savage.
I think people giving Emi Martinez a lot of credit for a World Cup that they got for free as a gift. Yeah, the guy is rubbish.
Well, I'm not sold on Emi Martinez myself either, because I think that's better. But I'm not sold to keep Onana either. But what I've been told is the Jadon Sancho deal and a lot of other deals, the bonus deals, will actually fund the goalkeeper. So we're not looking on spending more than.
But let's go get this guy Vanya from
Vanya Milinkovic-Savic.
Milinkovic-Savic.
Yeah, I will ask him. Next time. I will ask him. But
I heard Napoli is going for him too. So that's going to be
they're interested.
Yeah.
The thing is with that deal for Napoli is trying to rush the deal over the line before July 1st because they are wary of Manchester United's search for a goalkeeper. Now they offered £80 million for the player, which the club is currently considering, but they're holding on. They've been considering this deal for the last 4 days. And if they carry this on for another 2 or 3 days, Man United could come in for a hijack.
You're correct.
So let's see how it goes.
I've been told also that Man United will do a deal with the goalkeeper either way, even if they don't keep, or even if they don't get Onana out. Alfredo said there is generally interest about Onana in Saudi League, but most of the European clubs are stacked with goalkeepers. They're not really looking, and they don't want to pay this high fee for him either, and his wages. So that is the stumbling block.
Yeah,
what I heard is Lunen's I think his release clause is 20 million euros.
Lunin.
Lunin.
Yeah, Real Madrid.
Nah, forget that. We don't even bother there, bro. This is a guy, yeah. Nah, no, bro. Do your research and remember. But it's the price is a good price. No, don't get me wrong. The price is a good price, but I don't think you'll buy Lunin unless you're buying him as a backup goalkeeper. You know, a guy like Milinkovic Savic could come in and arguably compete with Onana. Big up to Richard James. We're not ignoring your questions.
Did I miss your
Richard James
question?
questions. Let's see what Richard James has to say.
I don't know. I'm just catching up with your chat. Can you repost your question against Richard, and we will come to it.
Let's see if I could find Richard's question.
Sorry, Mick. I'm from Manchester. We would like. I like to ask the tough questions. Yeah, I Richard, please, if you're from Manchester, Mancunian, United's reputation with South Americans on the world isn't great, is it? Well, here's the thing. When we heard about Leon what is his name?
Diego Leon.
Leone.
We thought, that's another South American story utilizing Manchester United for clicks. But the person behind it is actually, Christopher Vivell. And the person behind also scouting also South American players is Vivell. So there is genuine interest regarding Richard Viers. We never thought we would get, Diego Leon, but all of a sudden, bam, he had legs, right? And it's the same story, yeah. So I wouldn't sleep on that.
I'm speaking the correction.
Record, though, on
hey, Rasta, big up, mate.
Players, to be honest, really and truly, I'm not trying to just be critical of what you said just now there, but when you look at some of these South American players that won stuff at United, Antonio Valencia, the Dos Santos brothers, it have some guys that came in and did well. Gabriel Heinze was an Argentinian that played for us as well. So there are quite a bit of them. Dwight York is considered a South American, if you don't know. Won a treble at United. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I feel like, you will always have players come from various places, whether it's Europe, South America, Africa, China, Asia, Middle East, and they might flop. It happens. Sometimes it's just how the sport goes. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But Richard Rios is a very rugged player, incredible. I would call him a very combative box-to-box 8 that can get forward. He has a shot on him. But the only issue with the Richard Rios deal is while he is reported to be 30 million, 40 million, possibly get the deal done, the 90 million release clause euros that they have on him is still valid until next season. So it's whether if this becomes another issue, because last season, remember, we offered something like 42 million euros, and then they said they referred to the release clause. So
this is Richard. Is this your question? Fancy blowing it dumb enough to blow 20 mil on a play F all about? Well, it's always a risk, isn't it, Richard? It's always a risk, isn't it? Like, hey, sometimes you pay 20 million and it pays off. You look at Aiden Heaven, like you paid 1 million and it was it paid off, right? So for me, that's a low risk, right? If you get a sort of a cheaper midfielder in 2025, you didn't spend much, right? And then the lower salaries. So yeah,
possibly. I mean, forget the lower salaries aside. If you want to consider what type of player you could class this Richard Rios guy as, I would say if you haven't seen Andre Trinidade at Wolves, or you haven't seen Ederson, those players have a very stylistically similar performance.
Yeah.
So
the show today they spoke about Ederson as well.
Yeah, we spoke about Ederson, and basically, if I repeat myself, Man United was very, very much interested. He had an exclusive in December. He actually was invited to, Atalanta's sports center to speak with the president, where he will reveal the Manchester United and Atalanta. They have a good relationship, by the way, with Rasmus Højlund deal and everything else.
I don't know if we're gonna get it.
Amad Diallo also, we bought him from Atalanta as well, if you remember, right?
Yeah.
So we do have a good deal, but however, they didn't trigger that and he was surprised that Manchester United didn't push harder for him, because that price was 50 million back then, which is 40 million pounds. Now Atalanta is looking at us like we are not really desperate to sell him. You know what I mean? So they increased the price to 60. But that is kind of like, okay, open for negotiations at the end of the day. They don't really want to sell him. They have Lookman as well. So they are the key figures for them, right? So if they lose Ederson, they have to sort of backfill that as well. That could be interesting
Yeah.
to watch.
But you see, at the moment, the way I'm looking at it, because we don't have Champions League next year, we don't have a Europa League, so I don't know if they're going to still stick with Casemiro and Ugarte as the sixes, and then the eights is going to be Bruno and
They won't
Mainu.
need to.
Yeah,
Casemiro
and
is no
they,
needed.
I don't understand.
No needed if we're
Why
not
would
playing
why would
Europe.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case next season. But at the same time, I think next season we're going to need all hands on deck. I mean, regardless we don't have Europe or not, we still going to play about 50 games next season. And
yeah,
to be fair, if you want to consider what they're going to bring to the team, I mean, Casemiro was the best DM coming to the end of last season. So,
Yeah,
and
fair
that was
enough.
not just Europe; he was also doing well in the Prem.
We
Arguably,
have.
he had some good performances in the last couple of games in the Prem when other players were not performing well. So yeah.
yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
we do have a question that's coming in, but before that, we go for that questions. All I'm asking for you guys to do one thing. At the moment, I want to check the live stats where we are. There's 1,100 people watching and only 45 likes.
Wow! Come
What
on,
am I
guys,
doing
smash the
today?
likes.
Every single channel have minimum 100 likes. You know, and there's 1,000 people watching. Free content, exclusive, breaking to you. Guys, what do we have to do? Slave more? Do chicken dance? Mark, to do what? Eat hot chips? No? You refuse to do the hot chip challenge
Yeah, no,
on
I had to
KG
eat the
show.
soft chips
You
sometime
haven't
this
done
week
it
to
yet?
come in, bro. No, bro,
Oh,
but
you're
this
in the
week I'm
mud.
gonna do it. So yeah, sometime this week. So it's have a
You're in the
couple of
mud.
days off. So, yeah.
Guys, let's get involved. Guys, please smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe, leave your comments in the comment section and come in with your questions as well. Because the next one, what I want to talk about is Xavi Simons. Silverman was asking a question. What do you guys think about Xavi Simons? For me, he's the most exciting midfielder today. Look, Xavi Simons, he said he's going to leave RB Leipzig, Mark. Where is he going? It's been dead quiet around him.
Yeah, it's been super quiet. You know, we did have some interest in the player 2 summers ago when Ten Hag was still the manager, but then we signed Mason Mount. That would make things really confusing because the scouts were reporting that Xavi Simons was the prime target, and then all of a sudden it shifted to Mason Mount. I think Xavi Simons is a very interesting player. I like him. He's very good on the ball, very creative. He can do a lot. He could go left, he could go right. You know, he has a good shot on him
I love
either
him.
side. He makes good
I like
decisions.
him.
You know, of course, he's no Jamal Musiala, but he is top draw in my honest opinion, and he will go up levels. It's going
I
to be
remember
interesting to see.
you remember the viral videos as him as a 5-6-year-old doing messy stuff?
Yeah, because he was at the Barcelona Academy at that time as well. You know, I just think that, you know, for when you look at what we have going on right now, I can't see us moving for Xavi Simons unless we do some sales, unless we get the
Yeah.
likes of Rashford and Sancho gone, because then we will have room to bring in a player. The thing with Anthony, although he's dropping his wages, there has been some talk that, you know, directly from Edwin van der Sar, who has been advising the club this summer on all transfers and all things with it has to do with the football plan this season. Edwin van der Sar has been an advisor, and he has been suggesting that Anthony be kept for 1 season. Now, while I'm saying this, don't hate me, don't be mad at me. If he's sold, he's sold. At the end of the day, the club needs to make the best footballing decision for the football club.
Okay.
Whether it's to
Hold
sell
that
him
thought
or
on
any other
Anthony
player.
because we spoke about Anthony as well. Royden, regarding the question from Silverman, Xavi Simons, yes, no?
I like Xavi Simons. I think he's good. But if you had to give me a choice between Xavi Simons and Musiala, I take Musiala hands down.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think Musiala is a better player overall than Xavi Simons.
Yeah. You know, regarding what people don't understand is the Manchester United don't want to go, you know, they want to break even, at least make profit on Anthony Dos Silva, like, you know, Anthony Dos Santos, sorry. Because we all know the story. We got absolutely pulled down the pants from Ajax. We could have bought him for 45 million. He was never a 95 million pound player. You know what I mean? Never.
Yeah.
Never. So now pressure's off. He's doing well. And if we sell him now, we will make a loss unless we have a bidding war, right? Unless Real Betis, who actually sold the player for 25 million, 30 million, can utilize the money, and he's kind of lowering down his wages. You know, or we kind of sort of keep him for another year and sell him next year where everything's been paid off, and then you make a profit. Otherwise, it will make a dent on the PSR and the FFP.
Or add a sell-on clause, a big sell-on
Yeah.
clause for him.
That
Yeah.
that won't happen for a player like
Won't
Arsenal,
happen.
bro. That's why
Won't happen.
that sell-on clause works for young players under a certain age. It don't work for
Yeah.
players at a certain age. Because then they are
Yeah.
at that certain point, you know, unless they bang, yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
some news coming in from Rushmano. United are in advanced talk to sign 16-year-old Harley Emsden, James from Southampton.
No, I heard
Maybe
it
to
was
the
done.
academy.
I heard it was
Yeah.
done. I heard
It's
it's a done
academy
deal.
play.
I heard it was
it's a
done
done
too.
deal
I
this
also heard it
morning.
was done.
So he's a very interesting young centre back, very talented. He's both-footed, very good on the ball. I can tell you about him. I've seen him play a few games. You know, it's an interesting situation. Man United have been looking at him for the last 2.5 seasons, and only now was able to sign him on a legal way from academy to academy. To be honest, and not like
Yeah, but
poaching.
it's not the one. It's not a one that, you know, exciting prospect, but it's not a one that's gonna come in the first team.
Well,
Yeah.
true,
But
but
there is
this is them keeping in line with the motive of signing a lot of talented youngsters, so eventually they could be promoted into the first team. So this is where
Well,
that falls in line.
there is some more good news with the youngsters as well. JJ Gabriel's committed himself to Man United as well, so that's good news. That's good news as well for us.
Everybody wanted this JJ
Football has
Gabriel.
changed,
Yeah.
Lance. Football have changed. We've seen freak of natures, like, you know, popping up. 17-year-old. It's like the Sir Alex used to say, the prophecy. Like, you know, you're good enough, you're old enough, right? You seen Barcelona, Yamal doing madness, man.
Yeah, but
see-
Yamal is
but
a
then-
freak, eh?
Yeah, and then you see PSG. You know,
Wow.
I'm kicking us that we didn't sign him that last summer. You know what I'm talking about, right, Mark? You know, there's a redo it. What a player! What a player! Then we see, like, you know, talents like Lenny Yora as well, playing like a grown-ass man. And the guy that we signed now, Diego Leon, is also supposed to be one of those monsters, right? So, hey, football have changed. Like, you know, I don't mind playing youngsters, but at the end of the day, I don't want to rush them in.
That's a major situation.
This is why I think we're going for guys like Mbuemo and Cunhas, because we do need a bit of experience for the youngsters. I mean, you can't just throw all those youngsters in, because what's going to happen, you can either make or break them. And in most of the cases, if they haven't got an experienced player to help them, they're going to break them.
I think that's a bit of a stretch with Amorim and Youth, to be fair, because there are lots of rumors flying around with Amorim and Youth, and I think it's a little bit of an exaggeration. But he does fancy Sekou Kone a lot. He has plans to bring Kone into the first team next season.
By the way,
but this was not only him, whether it was him or the previous manager, Sekou Kone was destined. The boy is brilliant.
Mark Harris, hold your horses there. I'm going to come to you. But regarding Sekou Kone, man, when I was in Kuala Lumpur on the Asian post-match tour, man, I saw him play. And so, like, wow, that is an electric baller, right? Wow, what a player, right? So that is exciting for me. And that's what I said, like, you know, when I spoke to Alfredo as well, to say, Manchester United will assess these youngsters during the pre-season. So it's not that important that we get those players in, right? Because they're looking at their academy players. So would you pay 50, 60 million for Ederson, or would you look at the next up-and-coming Ederson? Like, if you look at Sekou Kone, you have the Fletcher twins, you have a lot of good Morehouse,
that is okay, Mick. And yes, we want to see the youth come through. But if there's anything to go by, last season, especially in a season where the manager knew beforehand that the season was able to experiment with, none of the youth, none of them progressed this season. They all regressed, even Ahmad. So it's one of those things where I feel like now is a time we need to balance the team with some experience and then allow the youth to come into the team.
Yeah, but that's why we're looking at Richard Rios, 25 years of age. You know, of course, they're looking at Aidan Hackney, which is from Borough, but he's young, still young, right? So they're lining up Ederson, they're lining up, Richard Rios, and they're lining up a younger prospect as well, right? So we will see. According to what I understood, like, you know, the midfield will be attacked or addressed after you solve the attacking forward line in the first place. Well, what about Chido Obi Martin? What a player. I saw him in Asia as well. Like, what a player. You know, I saw him live.
JJ Gabriel going to bench Chido next season if JJ Gabriel gets chances.
Yeah.
He's the better striker, hands down.
He spoke about Højlund as well. And Alfredo spoke about Højlund. And he mentioned something very interesting. Most likely a loan. Most likely loan for development.
Yeah. But if it's a loan, we don't really make much from the loan either. We actually lose on Højlund on a loan.
Well, with a loan
this-
fee. Still
Yeah,
money.
but it's still money. You're right. But I think it's something that just to break even, we have to sell him for 45 million just to break.
This is
even
something that
on
Manchester United will not do. If Manchester United manage to loan him out, they will get a loan fee, which is profitable for their books, and then next season potentially an option to buy, right? An obligation to buy, and then you sell him for a higher value, which is good for the player's development. Like if it goes back to Serie A, Juventus, Napoli, Atalanta, whatever that might be, and does really good, like Anthony did, the value goes up. You know what I mean? But if you sell him now, that you make a loss. So better to take that 5-10 million.
Sure where
in
the
loan
club
fee.
is. I'm not sure where the club is at the moment with Højlund. From what I've read and from what I've seen, it looks like the club want to keep him because they are planning to bring that experienced striker in. So that's what I'm thinking. So, but what was a worry was that if we did make Champions League, I think they might have maybe actually sold him and then got Delap and Gyökeres. Those two would have then been the strikers. So for me, I think if with the situation we're in now, we're going to keep Højlund. With Mark Harris' question on Kone, I don't think Kone is ready yet, and this is why Amram didn't want to bring him in. Remember, he's coming from a place football where football it can be quite a bit different compared to England. You know, I'm a person
who Kone has been man of the match 11 times this season for Manchester United under 21. And for the under 18, he's been man of the match 5 times or 6 times, something like that. So there's a player who has come to Manchester United. He's been here. This is his second year in Old Trafford, and he's been performing really well. So
regarding
he's on a good
Garnacho, he said regarding Garnacho, the interest from Serie A has died because of the fee that Manchester United want, and therefore he's kind of decided he wants to stay in the Premier League. Would you be opposed if we don't sell him and he managed to stay? Is there a way back for him? He's still young.
I don't think there's a way back for him. I think if he, even though I like Garnacho, and I think for me I've always liked the way he plays. I'm a Garnacho fan as well myself. I think that if he stays, then you've got to allow a guy like Rashford back as well, you know. So if Amram doesn't want to,
had 10 years to play at this club.
Scenario is Rashford is still a Manchester United player by contract, so he has to come back.
Too,
he needs to report. He needs to go in pre-season. He needs to be in training. The question is, will Amram allow him to increase his value?
That's the weird thing. For me,
I
think
we did the same thing with Sancho. Just pretended everything was hunky dory just to increase his value. So we have to.
Yeah, but we mustn't do that again. It affects our preseason. I don't think they should be near the squad at all. If they're going to leave, they shouldn't be part of the squad at all. I understand it's about the value and stuff, but for me, I don't want that because we had that. It didn't give our preseason what we needed last season. You know. Because it was just the whole transfer window was Jadon Sancho this, Jadon Sancho this, Eric Ten Hag and Sancho have made peace, this and this and this, and it was just the whole time that whole Jadon.
I think my personal opinion as a fan, we need to sort of, it's like being pest control, call anti-C-Mex. This is the final piece that we need to get rid of. Sancho. We need to get rid of Jadon Sancho and Luke Shaw, which I don't believe will go anywhere. That's the thing. That is what's missing. I believe that Garnacho became too full of himself. I don't know. He's still young, said some stupid things, but he's still put in the graft.
To be fair, this is the one situation where I will say this is a failure on the manager. And the manager has been setting him up for this failure for the entire season because he picks on Garnacho when he loses games.
But maybe he did that on purpose.
That's cool and
to
that's
get
all well and
Cunha
good. He could.
He did that at Sporting.
No,
you
that's good, but Sporting in Portugal, Mick, and right now he gets slapped up every single way, going, coming, left, right, up, down, and center in the Premier League. So right now his methods has not shown or proven to work at least a little bit good. You understand?
Well, I can sort of speculate to say, well, he was given almost a half a season to assess the squad, and the assessment by also to get an assessment together with Omar Barada and Will Cox, they probably planned and said, let's get something better. Let's get Cunha and let's sell. Who can we sell, right? That doesn't fit the system.
I mean,
So we can argue to the point that, yeah, I like him as a player, but he's a wide player. You know,
I'm not even saying that because let's be real, the man had more than 30 Premier League games this season.
yeah, and therefore he's
In my
valuable.
honest opinion, and I'm not talking about the player, I'm talking about the manager. In my honest opinion, you play 30 Premier League games and you only win 9. That is your failure. Yeah.
Of course it
while
is.
While I'm saying this is his
But
failure,
it's not his fault.
I'm not saying sack Amorim. I'm saying that there is reasons that is most of the losses that we lost are his fault because he had winning teams and he rotate them to get players or whatever it is he did. That's fine. No,
I'm not defending finish
next
15th or
season-
16th in the league. Next season it is his
he
season.
needs to prove himself that he
Yeah.
can not only improve the young players in the team, but he can get this team to win consistent games because as a manager, he's actually the worst manager in the history of Man United. Because
but
he
it's
has
not
been unable to win more than 2
Well,
games back to back.
let's be the voice of reasoning here. I'm in the middle here. You're left, right. Yes, we have spoken about this so many times, but in my opinion, it's not his fault. It wasn't his players. He came in the middle of a season, right? And he wasn't really backed in the January. They saved the money to back for him right now in the summer. This is where it starts. So he said it in the last game when he had the speech. Now a new era begins. So he must be confident that the Ineos regime are kind of backing him. So I agree with you. You can now judge him after this transfer window, 100%. But I would never forgive Ineos. I would never forget Glazers. And I can't put this on Amarin that we finished 15th to 16th in the league. You know what I mean?
Technically, we have to put Stan Amarin because he got the team.
Yes, a little
when
bit
he
blame,
came into
yeah.
the club. When he came into the club, we were 4 points off top 4. We finished the season 36 points off top 4. That is not the player's fault.
Yeah, but you
That is
change
the
your
manager.
system.
Yeah,
And
he does.
you
but
play
he
with
still has to
dum-dums.
get- He still
I'm
has to
sorry,
get
you're
the
playing
best
with
out of these
dum-dums.
dum-dums.
IQ3 players that don't listen.
He coached a losing game for the Europa League final. Is why we having trouble
Yeah, but did
signing
the players
Gyökeres
down
right
to
now.
it? It wasn't him.
No, that's his fault. He picked Mason Mount and
What happened to the players' mentality in that game?
Ask Mason
you-
Mount and Luke
yes,
Shaw. What
everyone
happened?
can
They are
make a
the
mistake.
reason why we lost the game.
Let me ask you this. You have two doors to go through, right? You don't know. One will lead to a squid game. You will fall down. And one will lead you to the heaven's gate. It's a chance. Which door are you going to pick? You don't know,
I mean,
right? So you made a
I'm
plan.
just
and
saying
it
that
failed.
you don't pick a team, you don't change our winning team in a final. That's rookie mistakes. This is why all this reason
He
that
was a
we
rookie in the
haven't.
final.
Yeah, he was, and this is why we have an issue signing Gyökeres because we don't have Champions League. But at the same time, like we chalk it up to writing off the season last season from the moment we brought him in. So we chalking it up
listen,
all to
at
that.
the end
But
of the
this
day,
season is
this
where he had
season
to
is it.
perform. He's not going to get any excuses that this is not his team, this is not his players this season.
This season is definitely on the board, the sporting operations, the first time they work together, and Amarin. They are collective, right? This season, would you agree that this season is the season you can judge everything?
I would, in my opinion, I would say 35% Amram, then 65% Ineos and the Glazers. That's what I would say because I've always been with this. It's like you going to a builder and saying, "Here's straw, build me a mansion that can survive a hurricane." And then the manager's like, in my opinion, he should have been backed in January. He should have been backed better in January. Now that is part of it because in January, if you are within top 5 going into January transfer window, you won't maintain it if you don't buy in January because you will get injuries after that. So you will need to bring players in, and that's what they didn't do. And that's why after January we dropped down even more. So for me, I'm still of the impression I won't judge him because he wasn't backed in January. He hasn't had a preseason and he hasn't had a summer transfer. Once he's had that, then I will start judging him.
The difference is in this transfer window. If you compare Liverpool and City and us, it's like rich dad, poor dad. We used to be the rich dad, but we are not the rich dad anymore. We're the poor guy. You know what I mean? We're scraping the barrel, trying to sort of cut wages, trying to do this, trying to maneuver. And our value has dropped. The brand value of Manchester United, we used to be pulling power to say, yeah, you come and play for the biggest club in the world. But hey, players nowadays, they want to play in Champions League. They want to be in the competition. They don't really give a shit what they play for, right?
I mean,
that's the thing.
I feel
that
like
those days are over. Those days of modern players are over. There's no such thing. There's a few handful left, but most of them looking at the paycheck. What's in it for me? Because every player has their own PR, branding, and all that stuff, and agents play a big part in it. But nobody, if you come for a player that wants to play for the badge, and that is the recruitment strategy. If you know, you know. They're going like, we want to recruit Manchester United fans, Manchester United players that want to play for this shirt. Like, is Gyökeres a Man United fan? We don't know.
I don't care.
Does he want to play for Ruben? Yes, he does. Does he want to play in Champions League? Yes, he wants.
I don't think so, and I disagree. Because if he wanted to play for Ruben, he would have signed the contract already. Yeah, and he would not be saying, I need Champions League. But the biggest problem is, the reason we don't have Champions League is our manager. And it got nothing to do with the players or anything, because we had a final to win. Yeah.
Guys, time's to get your questions in right now. We're going to round up the show with your Q&As as well. But I'm just going to check where we are at the moment, guys. We are 1,400 watching and only 54 likes. Royden?
Come on, guys. Smash those likes.
Yes, come on, guys. Smash the likes.
200 before this stream is over. At least 10.
We will not speak. We will not speak until 50 more likes.
Nine, of course we will speak, but, you know, let's get it. Let's get the likes up, people. Come on. Do a good job for Mick. You get the M&M show and you have Rodney Frost in the building. It's cold. It's cold out here.
I'm absolutely...
Here is cold.
Listen, it's like me open up my crypto wallet and I see like, oh shit, Bitcoin has dropped. But I'm doing great. You know what I mean? Not offended, but of course, a little bit disappointed to see that's like almost 1,400 watching and 54 likes. Guys, you can do better. You can do better. Just do it. Just do. We're not sponsored by Nike, but you know, just do it. Just do it.
Just right do here. It. Yeah. Do it.
Just do it.
Like, do it. Just do it.
Help your team out. You know how it is. Are you not entertained? I'm pretty sure you've been entertained.
Just Neil Disco, he blames the ball players Amarin. I blame them all. I blame them all.
But you see, Mick, the reason why I say that, Mick, is because when you look at the performance, and you look at the two players that he brought into the team, they are the exact two players that cost us the game. You know? So that is, and you don't change anything for 78 minutes, and then you go out to say that the 20-year-old who played 19 minutes, it's his fault we lost because he missed one chance in the game. That to me, Mick, and then too as a manager, a Man United manager, talking about winning a cup don't matter. Yeah, those things are a little bit disturbing for me.
For me, the most important thing is now fix the attack. Midfielder, I think we're okay. And goalkeeper.
Definitely need. Please. God knows. Ami Martinez need to stay where he's at. For the last 2 seasons with the most mistakes that led to goals in the Prem. Go check it if you think I'm lying. Yeah. And so plus, all those who want to sign him for £30 million, when he comes and he concedes just as much as Onana, I will be on you guys for putting us to that shame again. I will be
shame on you. You're like KG's brother. Come on.
Mark
he wants KG and them want those guys like Martinez. They want him. But all of them talking about the fact that
but why? And the question is, I think the people are romanticizing just, it's a better version than Onana. It's a bozo. It's a better upgrade bozo, not bozo, in a way.
Bro, my analogy is this. You're going to buy garbage because it smells better than a turd. Yeah? Only because it smells better than a turd. So this is what we do in here.
Clip this, people.
You're getting your analogies from Mark Goldbridge, eh?
No, he got this analogy from me because I said this online 2 weeks ago and then he said it last week. So he had to be watching my stream because I said you're going to buy garbage, because it smells better than a turd.
Guys, in my opinion, I would take Savage. Savage, if we can get him, because I feel he's a goalkeeper that'll be intimidating in the box, especially, and I like Savage. I think in my opinion, I would take Savage more than I would take Martinez.
Get me Radmal Vitek, sell Onana. I could, you know
Hey,
what? I would let
hey,
Vitek if we can't
right.
get Savage.
Royden, you remember this this parody comedy, The Naked Gun?
Oh yeah,
When
yeah.
that you know this guy. That's Savage.
Yeah. No.
In the
Savage,
tunnel, like
he just
huge.
does this.
Yeah,
You know?
man.
Yeah.
huge.
I
He's
think
like
it's one of the guy is super tall. And for me,
wingspan,
I
shot
always like
stopper.
an intimidating goalkeeper. You know, I understand the need for a modern goalkeeper who's decent with his feet. You know, but for me, yeah, I want a goalkeeper that's amazing with his hands and he could be good with his feet. He don't need to
I've
be
got a
amazing
question
with
for
his
you
feet.
too, though. I've got a
No, no.
question for you too, though. If
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
mind.
Let me just continue on Mark. So,
Mhm.
Mark, in summary, what you're trying to say in my analogy, you can polish a turd, but it's still a turd.
Nah, you can't even polish Martinez, bro. He's a soft turd. How you polishing a soft turd? It's just gonna make a mess.
What would you guys say about Diego Costa?
That's the guy Amorim
That's
wants.
that guy.
That
That's the guy I want.
all the reports say that this is the goalkeeper that the manager wants. Yeah, all the reports, but we
But
haven't been
what do
linked
you
in. We
think?
haven't made any approach. I think is a player that both managers in the last year wanted at Man United. Therefore, is the goalkeeper we should be signing at Man United. We should have never signed André Onana. If we couldn't sign that goalkeeper last season, we should have walked away from the Onana deal and waited. Because for me, I'm a patient guy. Yeah, I don't like to rush things. And this Man United, in the last couple of seasons, we have been rushing things. We have been being a little bit immature, a little
Yeah,
bit too
good.
soon running
Good. I
off the
like that.
starting block. And this has been creating major problems for us down the road. And I'd be so real to say that, you know, a little bit of patience with Man United right now, with the team in general, coach, players, all that encompasses that for the next season might go a long way to seeing where we could develop, because we cannot say, yeah, we don't have time to develop players, because last season we were starting 4 to 5
Yeah.
developmental players week in, week out. Next season, we need to add some experience.
Roy,
I like Diego Costa. Yeah.
Roy, does that what Mark said? Does that include having patience in the transfer market? You know, take your time, pick the right kind of players.
Look, Mick. For me, I'm a believer that in preseason we saw last season we didn't have our signings in preseason, and what happened when it took Ugarte took time to get going, De Ligt took
Game
time
of the
to get
season.
going.
Third game of the season.
Xerxes took time. Exactly. You see, so for me, I feel if we can have Gyökeres and Buemo and Cunha in before preseason, or at least let them get two games in or a game in preseason, that sets us up for the new season and they're ready in together. The other signings, I don't mind them coming in later.
Well, the problem is never linear. Like it's actually like a double-edged sword. What you're trying to say, you know, there's pros and cons. The pros for me is to take your time in the transfer window, don't panic and buy the right players. The con is don't do like last season. Get your players in before the start of the Premier League. And of course, the transfer window will be open a little bit longer due to this World Cup competition. So, you know, I want us to be ready to, you know, as we, you know, if we lose the first 3 games, that's a tough start. I want us to be able to go in with confidence with the right type of players.
Yeah.
Not like several seasons, we're always late. We tend to lose the first 2-3 games, have a shocking start. So if you start winning the first 3 games in the Premier League, that breeds confidence.
I don't know if about winning the first 3 games this season. I don't think that should be a consideration for fans.
Well, we start with we start with Arsenal at home.
We need to start with the signings coming, and then we work from there. Because right now, I would say this prospectively, and people might disagree, but this is just my thoughts. Last season, we played a team in a transition with a brand new system, changes of rules and requirements and positioning and all these things. Most importantly, we have to consider we are also playing a 65-game season last season. Now, with one game a week and some weeks off, this team will be more rested and more fit. All the players like Garnacho and all these players who had bad performances because they was tired, just playing 2 games a week within 36 hours every single week, every single game. last season was within 32 hours, except for
Yeah.
the week apart. But what I could say is that when you look at this team, I would consider that the entire team will be a lot more fitter, more energetic. So we should equally see a 30% increase in performance naturally
An output.
from the team.
But that's why I'm
So-
saying
so-
it's so important that we sort out the goalkeeper. So at the end of the day, you count the points tally, but you also count the goals conceded. So if it's a tight race for fourth, then of course you look at goal difference and how many goals conceded. So if we get rid of Onana and get more of a tight goalkeeper, a shot stopper, we fix the attack, we start scoring goals, we get Gyökeres in. God help us if we do. Yes.
You know what? I'm just gonna throw this out there. Onana for most of last season was still in the top 6 for clean sheets. And if I'm not mistaken, he ended the season in 7th and 8th. So if he had sorted that out and we didn't concede some of those goals, it might have even been better as well.
Can it be fixed? Do we have time to fix?
I don't think
No.
it can be fixed. He can't. What he's learned is he's learned. What if you wanted to fix something, he needs to be at least 22,
He's not
23.
even
where
learned.
It's
He's
like
unorthodox.
you're teaching your daughter, like, she put her finger on the stove and she burned herself, and she keeps doing it, even if you're telling her. Bad habits can be fixed. Certain motor skills cannot be fixed either. Like, we've seen that he's very slow on throwing himself to the ground.
This guy have to weigh a ton because
He's a ton. He needs
so
to.
fast.
Maybe he can slim down a bit.
Yeah,
Mark,
but he did.
don't
and
you-
he still don't.
Don't you think he's a little bit too top heavy?
Yeah,
I don't know,
top-heavy.
but what I could say is that he already has an unorthodox style of saving shots. Yeah,
He's like a hockey keeper.
coupled with a frame that don't really scream goalkeeper. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. When I look at him, he looks like an ice hockey keeper. Like, the way he saves, like this, like with legs and everything. Anyway, I forgot about Xerxes, mate. Jeffrey Energy, big up, Mr. Energy.
Yeah.
Xerxes gonna surprise most of us. Give him time.
Jeff,
This bloke has potential. Yeah, I agree.
I would love to speak on this, but people go and hate me because I go and tell
No.
you now, Jeff, that I
Don't
have that sudden
speak.
feeling
I
that
know
we
what
would-
you're thinking.
You know what I'm thinking?
I know what
We
your
wasted 60
reason.
million
Don't tell me
paying for
cause it
Matthias
hurts.
Cunha.
Don't tell me
Because
cause
this
it hurts.
brother, I want you all to know when it happened, don't say I tell you all, but if Xerxes bench Cunha this season, man them owe me a kit. Man them know who they are. They owe me a kit because this brother, he is the identical player to Cunha. Identical. The only difference is he didn't have the 12 more goals that Cunha had
All right.
than him last season.
All right. Mark Harris, Onana dives in times.
Yeah. He died from Central Eastern European time and he ended up in UK time when he landed. Hour later.
Well, thanks to him, we
you know
finished.
what? This is why I think, in my opinion, why I think Onana has struggled because I'm under the impression that he's a little bit too top heavy. If you compare him, his chest, especially, and his shoulders, if you compare him to somebody, just his physique, to maybe Donnarumma or Courtois or even Savic. Remember, Savic is tall. He's just tall, but he's not top heavy.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
a big guy, but he
listen,
lands,
if we're
but
going to
he
be
has
serious
spread.
in the market, I agree. My point is to round things up. If we're going to be serious in the market, you need to go for the experienced striker and the experienced goalkeeper. The rest will fix itself. It's like the
exactly.
famous Mick Ruby burger analogy, right? What's the point of having the juicy Wagga beef burger with the onion rings and everything? If you don't have the bottom, it will just trickle down. And if you don't have the top, it will. What's the point? It's not tasty.
Yeah.
It's like putting salad leaves on top of it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But I don't know how much Diego Costa would cost us, but I think it would be quite a bit though. If we had to
That's
go.
that's funny.
47 million pounds.
That's
47
funny.
million pounds.
Costa will cost a lot. Hey, Roy, listen to
Yeah,
me.
but
Listen,
men, they want to
listen.
pay 35 million pounds for a third, bro. You laughing at 47 for Costa?
All right. This is turning into a farce now. Listen, you just mentioned something which cracked me up. Costa will cost a lot, eh?
It would cost a lot of money. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay. It's been a brilliant show, guys. I'm just going to check one last time. Has there been any improvements? Hell, 1,532 watching live on YouTube platform. And guess how many likes?
I don't know. I can't see.
I'll give you a guess. I'll give you a guess. Okay, give you a
78.
guess. No. You?
20.
No. How can it be 20? Did you?
That's wild, Royden.
What did you math? Yeah.
I
nice.
like, but but I'm not on my phone now. My phone's on.
But
next to me.
if it was 55 before, how can it be 20?
No, well then
Exactly.
I'll say 60. I'm going with
Mate,
60.
I want to see your mathematics degree. Like, what did your teacher give you? Algebra.
Listen. I wasn't the greatest. I wasn't the best at maths anyway. So that for me, I didn't even see why you needed half the shit that you did in maths.
Who can
Yo,
count in the
Royden?
head nowadays?
Royden?
Nope.
If it's one thing I would say to you, that is a wild statement right there.
But listen, who counts in the head nowadays when you have smartphones and application and AI does everything for you?
Bro.
You know,
Yeah,
it's the
but
dumber thing.
check, multiply 500 by 45 on 3 different smartphones.
Actually, you're very close. 67. Poor.
67.
Poor Fred. Big up
Man,
to
come on,
Fred in
guys.
the building.
Come on, guys. You know what we'll do?
Yeah,
We'll
they're moving like Manchester United under Amorim this season. Poor.
Maybe I should just
Hopefully
keep
next
quiet.
season with some signings, they will do a better job.
We're giving you some valuable information. At least respect.
Mick,
No
you know
biggie.
what? Let's tell these guys. You know what? I will do something. I'll do something for the channel if the guys do 100 likes. I will take a teaspoon of Carolina Reaper
This is
hot sauce.
if what this is the
What?
part where
What?
I'm
No, Mark.
booking
I've got a chair. I've got a chair. 1 second. I've got a chair.
Wait a minute.
Nah,
What is it gonna
do?
I will take a teaspoon of this. I will take a teaspoon of this.
Okay, guys, clip this.
Fansen.
All
I will
right,
take a
that's
teaspoon
gotta
of
give
this.
100 likes. Okay, that's gotta give 100 likes. Shit. Okay, you got 5 minutes before we close the shop because I'm gonna go to sleep. 5 minutes to see that. Hold it up again.
What?
Here it is.
What is that?
Carolina Reaper hot sauce.
Reaper. How hot is it? Give it to
It's
Mark.
hot. It's one of the hottest. One of the hottest you get.
Okay.
It's hot.
Count the likes, people. I want to
Well,
see
you can
this.
see some of it's
Please.
gone already, so I've been hitting it hard.
I want to see this. 5 minutes, guys. How many are we? Right now, we need 40 more likes.
Likes, you'll see Royden eat some pepper sauce. Let me see.
If we get 100,
if
we get 100, if we get 100, I will do a teaspoon.
Hot sauce.
I'll do a teaspoon. If we get 150, I'll do a tablespoon.
68.
Hey,
68.
200 likes. We want 2 tablespoons here, fellas. Come on.
For 200 likes?
Let's have a laugh.
200 likes, I'll go for it. I'll go for it.
You go for the whole bottle.
Let me get the tablespoon. I'm gonna get the tablespoon.
Like Man United kit, red.
Okay, now we
in fire.
All right, this bad boy. 2 of these full. If we get 200.
Let's go, guys. Smash those likes up if you want to see Royden eat some hot pepper.
If we get 70, I'll do half for one. If we get 70, I'll do a half for one.
Ooh, be careful what you wish for. We are 2 ways. We are 1 away from 70, Royden.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, I'm watching.
Guys,
I'm counting.
It's been a nice one. Come on,
It's 70. It's 70. It is 70. It is
Okay,
70.
Give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna dig it out. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Right, I'm gonna put it on here. Are you guys ready? I'm gonna show you so that you don't say I'm cheating. Right. Look, have a look, guys. You can see there it's full. Right, are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Woo.
Nice.
Woo.
Get going there, bro.
Woo.
I will be joining you on the hot stuff this week sometime. Stay tuned. Marken is about to do a hot chip this week at some point. It's coming.
Fred is coming in 500 likes.
He's sweating.
Can't send him to the hospital tonight, no?
Look at his face.
Oh.
Yeah, it's burning.
Royden sacrificed himself, and for 500 likes, Jeff will drown in the bottle. He will to drink the whole bottle anyway. Guys.
What I will do is make if the show after we go off, if the show gets 150 likes, I'll do a tablespoon.
Teaspoon.
It's okay.
All right, so
listen.
Royden has promised you guys Thank you for joining
After
us.
the
It's been a
show, if we
pleasure.
get 150 likes, I'll do a full
Okay.
tablespoon.
Deal. So that means that in
Deal.
retrospect, if we get over 100 likes after the show is finished, you will hold your bargain. You will
Yes.
take a full spoon.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I want you to sort of look right into the camera, stand tall, chest out, and stand up
Oh,
and promise.
there we go. I promise. We're on the badge. On the badge.
On the
He kissed the
badge.
badge. That's it. Clip that. Guys, it's been a fantastic show. Thank you for coming in. It's been a Sunday roundup. At the end of the day, what do you think we will end up like? Do you think we'll end up with Bueno very soon? I said most likely after June 1st. Then Gyökeres potentially.
That's a weird one.
I think
It's a
we'll
weird
get
one, Mick.
Mbeumo. I think Mbeumo will probably be announced this week, and then I think Kobe Mainu's new contract will be announced, which they will classify as a new signing, just to think. And then I'm hoping that Gyökeres will probably come in maybe midway through preseason.
Yeah, I hope
You're
for
right.
Gyökeres
You're right.
as well. I hope
Yeah,
for
it's a bit
Gyökeres
hot.
as
I'm
well.
burning.
Let's let
Guys,
Ryan get
you
some
should-
water, guys.
We started a new trend. Maybe we should do that. Hot takes.
No.
You know that.
what we're gonna do is Mick. We got to get
Guys,
Jarvis and Stu involved as well.
No, you know that YouTube, the guy that brings in celebrities and the hot chicken wings, different sources. Hurricane actually made it to the bomba, and he survived. Maybe we should start doing that with my guests. Like,
Yeah, you should.
asking questions.
You should.
Want a meal in the hot wings, bro. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, but this stuff gives you a kick, hey. Oh,
What a kick.
Yeah. Royden, go get
Yeah.
some water, broski. Mick,
no,
Yeah,
I won't
thank
drink
you
water.
for
I'll drink
having
milk.
me.
Cheers,
Thank you for
guys.
having me, bro.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Mick.
bro.
Thanks for
Everyone
having
in
me.
the chat,
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Thank you
man.
for joining us. It's been a pleasure to
Cheers.
have all of you here with us
Peace
today.
out.
Thank you,
Peace and
Roy.
love.
Go drink some. Put your tongue in yogurt, okay? take a
glory,
selfie.
glory, Man United.
Cheers,
Bye-bye,
Roy.
guys.
Cheers. Oh my God, that was madness, hey? Seriously,
Bro, that was crazy.
that was
Hopefully
crazy.
you'll be okay.
Well, you owe
big up to
KG one, I
Bumo.
think.
Yeah. This week I'll be doing a hot chip, so you guys can look out for that. It's gonna be prime on the scene.
Finally,
Yeah.
Mark's
The time
gonna
is,
do the hot
I
chip.
have time, like the last couple of times I really didn't have 2 days off, and I was worried that I might have a issue with the hot chip. I'm not worried about it being hot, but if I had a stomach issue after, then I would miss work, and I didn't want to do that. So I was like, I'll wait till I have time off, and I should have the time off this week. So
Okay, so
hot-
when
the
do
hot
we
chip
expect
should
you?
be
Where
good.
would that be? On KG
Give or take
channel or
end of this week, probably Thursday, Friday, somewhere there.
when? On KG's channel.
Yeah. It'll be on both channels. It'll be on I'll co-stream it to my channel too. So it'll be one of those things.
Finally.
Finally. Yeah.
But please, you will feel bad afterwards. You saw Poppy's reaction. He was like,
Papi don't eat pepper, make Papi's a softy, He living in the
I like
US, they don't
spicy
really
food, I
have
don't
pepper.
mind.
They don't really have spicy food in the US, it's not a thing. Their
Yeah,
spicy
big up-
is more like piquant.
Yeah.
You know?
Lee Parker saying, told you to start of the month, wait till the month is over and signings will flow in and out. And I was kind of finished with that because, Lee, I believe so. We're still early days, and normally transfer starts to pick up in, month of June to August. That's where I see that a lot of man has been going. But I think that United fans, they saw Cunha coming over the door. They look at Liverpool. They look at that. But they keep forgetting that these clubs needed to do early business because of the World Club competition,
True, but I just think that, based off of the season that we had last season and how they signed the signings last season, none of them actually came in until the last 2 weeks or the 3 weeks of the windows when we signed all the players, really. So it's one of those things where the fans looking at what we did in the past and saying, yeah, the only way to do a better job is to get these players in now. So
Yeah.
sooner the better for me as well.
All
I
right.
agree with that.
I just want to, before we end the show, you see it next to Mark. This was the interview done with Alfredo Pedullà. Go check it out if you missed it. It's absolutely bung for buck, 20 minutes. We tried to sort of do a Q&A. It's been a fantastic engagement with everyone. And I am looking forward to see Alfredo next week. Unless nothing happens in the transfer window, so there's no point of talking. I don't want to be like repeating the same thing, right? It's early days. So worth speaking is when after the 1st of June starts. So that's where you're going to see a lot of movements. Not like you, ball movements. You're always late.
Yeah, well,
Send
I
it.
mean, right now, I taking in Gold Cup moments right now. Trinidad and Tobago, trying to resurrect the football thing back again. We was one of those teams ranked in the top 30 a few years ago when we went to the World Cup. I shouldn't say a few years ago. It was like 20 years ago, to be honest. I'll be
Yeah.
honest there. But
It was a little bit
now,
of an
yeah,
unexpected stream. We saw, Royden was kind of, I think he was sweating, so he had to go off a
yeah,
little
he
bit,
had to go.
He had to
Couldn't
go.
handle it no more.
Otherwise, he would
Feeling
stay.
fire.
Brilliant. Anyway, he promised, guys, if you're watching in retrospective, if we get 100 likes, post, even if we finish the stream, you will see Royden come on next time and take full spoon. And if we get 200 likes, he promised what, Mark? What did he say?
He'll do a double.
Double. When we're going to see a treble then?
I don't know,
3
but
spoons.
maybe we'll have to wait for Manchester United for that one.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Mark, for coming in as per usual. I'm looking forward to see you next time. And I'm absolutely exhausted. It's been a very busy week organizing the interviews, doing recordings and everything. And so anyway, Mark, pleasure as per usual. And what did we say? Glory, glory, Man United. Stay calm, right?
Yeah, always. Enjoy your day. Be safe. Love United, hate the Glazers.
As per usual, guys. Thank you for watching. And as per Royden's promise, if we get 100 likes, he will take a full spoon. 2 spoons. And 3, there will be a treble. See you guys. We're out of here. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.
Peace.
Bye. Cheers. Royden has to do 3 tablespoons. We want to see a triple, 3 hot peppers. So get 300 likes. Thank you. Cheers. Do that.